watch one episode of One Punch Man. It's really good. It's about a superhero who's just really bored and depressed.
Oh, that'd be really great watching that.
No, it really is funny. He's called One Punch Man because he can beat any monster in one punch, and he's just really bored about it because he's like, there's nothing to challenge anymore. So he'll be like walking home from the shops, and then a monster will jump out and be like, "I am Zorg, the strongest monster of the underworld," and he'll just punch it and carry on going home.
Hello, I'm the John that's growing a beard.
And I'm the John that's growing my hair.
And I'm not John, and I'm really struggling with the recording equipment this week, so apologies in advance if the quality isn't as great as it usually is. We are still learning. We're all learning together. This week, we're going to dedicate our show to some family pets that have recently passed away. So tweet at us if you've been through anything and send us your support. So this one goes out to Alf and Ruby. So in that spirit, just to clarify, we've had a bit of feedback that it's not apparent what this show is about. So I ask two different people called John a would you rather question, and then we discuss. It's that simple. So to start off with, would you rather be a dog or a cat?
I like the way you made it sound simple, and we get off topic and forget what we're doing. But I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to go with dog, because that's what I've just lost, sadly. And as we were chatting earlier, I think he's had a very good life. I think there are a lot of people that go way above and beyond for their dogs, and I think I'd like to be treated like that, whereas cat owners, some people leave their cats out overnight. What's that about? Not happening at all.
Some people do leave their dogs out overnight.
And they get reported to the RSPCA.
I mean, I think dogs should live outside. That's where they would have been in the wild, and that's where they belong. Not endearing myself to our fans, I know, but I'd like to actually, I think I'd go the opposite way as it happens. I think I'd be a cat, almost for the exact same reason that you would rather be a dog. I don't want to be looked after. I like the way that cats are quite independent, sort of go about their business, do whatever the hell they want, and actually probably consider their owners to be their pets, and just kind of go, that's my human.
Well, I think with these initial answers, I could have known which direction you were going in, because I can tell from the one side, rather being a dog, John, you are relentlessly loyal and friendly and kind to everybody that you know. And John, you will try and sit in anything that looks like it might be too small for you to sit in. So I could see both of those answers coming from a mile off.
The other John doesn't like dogs.
This is true.
He'd be scared of himself.
It's a fear of what he could become. He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man.
Yes.
That's deep.
I've also always been a fan of the kind of food that cats like. They like soured cream. I'm a big fan of soured cream.
They like seafood, and you self-proclaimed hate seafood. You hate seafood like Kel loves orange soda.
That may or may not be true, but actually, I've always been quite ashamed of the fact that I hate seafood. You know, if you go to a sophisticated restaurant and somebody offers you the fish, the catch of the day, I have to decline and sort of make an excuse why the thing that the waiter is recommending, the best thing they've had on the menu all month, is just not to my taste.
Well, I mean, there's contrary to your statement already, because shame is not something that a feline feels. Dogs feel shame, but cats feel nothing but pride. There's a Terry Pratchett quote, and he states that cats were once worshipped as gods, and unfortunately they still not have forgotten this fact.
Very, very true.
I mean, you're adding fuel to my argument. I feel a lot of shame for not eating the seafood. It'd be great to be that cat that could not feel shame about not eating seafood. I could eat the seafood and not feel ashamed.
I think I've already got the diet of a dog, if I'm honest. Anything that isn't vegetables, pretty much how I roll. It's how dogs roll. Don't know if I should be admitting that. It's not particularly healthy.
I don't know if cats eat vegetables. I've never been a pet owner myself.
I mean, it depends on the vegetables when it comes to dogs. I mean, I've had dogs in my life that will literally eat anything. Our first family dog, Lucky, you could put absolutely everything into this plate and mix it all and mash it all together without fail. All that would be left on the plate at the end of the day was peas. She would be able to eat an entire, plate full of mashed potato with peas and onions and sausages and gravy and everything, and there would just be bone dry peas left on the plate. And we once tested and we counted the peas that we mixed into her food, and there was still that many left, which is a skill.
Impressive.
To just be able to do that with your tongue, think of how the ladies would enjoy it. But not if you're a dog. Okay, we'll scratch that. Help me out, quick! Someone say something.
We're not allowed to go to Wood Green.
Yeah, this is why I'm banned from the Battersea Dogs Home.
Mr. Hiscock, what are you doing with that jar of peanut butter? Nothing. A whole jar. Oh, God. Ugh.
I think also cats have really good night vision, and I've always fancied having great night vision. Just imagine
Dogs
being
also
able
got good
to.
night vision.
Not as good as cats, though.
Just as good.
Really?
They've both got the reflective lining on the back of their eyes.
Well, we learn something new every day.
And that's the first educational thing that has been on this podcast we've started. So it's taken 4 episodes. Tune in once a month for something to learn.
But cats can also jump higher than dogs generally. They can. I often see them walking about on the roofs of flats.
I wouldn't say that's jumping.
One of my favourite.
That's that they can climb. They can climb better. Cats can't leap 3 stories in the air.
Super mittens.
You got to take things into perspective. I think a cat can really leap 4 or 5 times its body height. And imagine
And
if
dogs
you
can be
do
amused
that.
by their own tails.
Yes, a dog could be more easily amused. One of my favourite memories of going to university was sitting on the roof drinking some Kopparberg in the sun on the roof. And I think if I was a cat, I could do that all the time. Just every day and not give a damn.
Do you like being greeted and welcomed into a room when you see someone you've not seen in a little while? Or would you prefer them to just ignore you point blank?
Well, I think as a cat, you don't get ignored. People try and greet you, and you just kind of greet them. If you feel like it, you have. If you feel like it, you make a friendly approach. If you don't feel like it, you just ignore them and go find a shrew to eat.
See, I'd much prefer to be happy to see everyone all the time because they'd be happy to see me. Have you ever met a person that doesn't go, "Oh, look, a dog, yay!" when it walks towards them? Oh, right, no, it's you, isn't it? You don't.
Yeah, that's literally me.
Okay. Apart from yourself. Okay, right. Imagine there was a golden retriever in one side of the room and you on the other side of the room. Who do you think your wife would say hello to first? You are married to her.
Normally, there's not a golden retriever in the room, and she still doesn't say hello to him. So
That's because John hisses at her.
yeah. To be fair, there's been many tear shed nights where she's phoned me and he just won't stop hissing at me, and he's been sat on the windowsill licking himself,
Eating a shrew.
Making unbroken eye contact and throwing things on the floor.
Not even eating the shrew, but just like bringing it into the house and then releasing it and just batting it around a little bit.
Licking himself and then throwing up all of his own hair. Oh. Why?
Oh dear.
At least when dogs don't feel well, they go into the garden, eat a load of grass, and they do that really funny take 2 steps forward and like do the funky chicken with the neck. You know what they're up to, you just leave them to it. They don't wait till 2 a.m. and do it on the nicest bit of upholstery you've got in the house. You're just inconvenient if you're a cat.
You're inconvenient to other people. We're talking about whether you want to be that person who is inconvenient to other people. I mean, I just don't have an issue with that. You kind of just you have your own rules. You don't give a damn. You're thinking from a human perspective and thinking, oh no, I don't like cats, but cats don't like you either.
That's a very good point. I mean, for me, the biggest thing it boils down to is cats are self-sufficient, dogs rely on people. So it depends more whether you are a social person or whether you prefer your own company if you're quite solitary. But for me, as much as I like the idea of being solitary, if I was a cat and I went missing, there is less chance of me being returned to my family than if I was a dog. And as much as I like to think I'm self-sufficient, I think I'd feel pretty upset if I went missing and nobody was really looking for me. Because you see a dog wander in the street and you know that pretty much everyone that sees it's going to go over and check why it's out by itself. When's the last time you saw a cat and went, oh, we should probably go and return it to its owner? You went, oh, it's a cat. It's probably out catting all over the place.
Whenever
being
I
in a different scenario.
Whenever I walk down the street with my wife and she sees a cat, she tries to steal it. So I don't know. Maybe that's why there's so many cats walking around on the street. She's just nicked them all. And
maybe your hissing's attracting them.
Okay, put me out of my misery. You're coming down on the dog side, aren't you? Even though I've made a perfectly good case that cats don't give a damn what you think.
Yeah, I think that's
because I don't give a damn.
Yeah, that's going to have to be how my answer goes, because I've had relationships recently where the girls have been cat people, and I've grown more accustomed to cats, and I don't have as much of an issue with cats as I did. I like that they're fairly low maintenance, but I'm going to go with dogs just because I feel like if I went with cats, the cats wouldn't give a flying fuck, and the dogs would be sad and cry little puppy dog tears. Whereas if I go with the dogs, I have just made their entire year, their entire life, and the cats would go, really still couldn't give a flying fuck, and turn their little cat bums in my face and walk away wiggling their bums like they do. So I think the best way is to not upset anybody apart from cat fans and go for dog. That's my logic. I'm basing it on nothing other than the cats and dogs' feelings.
Great.
Wow. This is a new map.
I had no chance.
About people's feelings.
So in summary, it didn't really matter what you said.
That's what I got from this.
As usual. Well, we were having a catch up before this recording, so some of the questions I'd prepared will be making a wait until next week, because now I'm going to hopefully what I think will be quite an interesting argument from a very informed John to a very uninformed John. Would you rather own an Xbox or a PlayStation? John, would you like to start us off with explaining why you've recently become a fan of Xboxes?
Well, I recently acquired an Xbox because my wife found one on the street.
While she was out scavenging for cats.
At the very same street, as it happens, that she's actually named every cat on the street. They've all got names that their owners didn't give to them. It's a fascinating sight. But anyway, that's besides the point. She found an Xbox just outside someone's house. I think she knocked on their door and said, "Are you keeping this, or is this out for the rubbish?" And they said, "Yeah, you can have it." They tried to force some more stuff on her. I think she politely declined.
What, like the children?
Yeah, I think that might have been one of the options.
I think this is a story that she's told you. I think that she's actually taking into the fact that she's married to a cat man. She's obsessed with cats and spends her time down random alleys. I think she's actually a cat burglar. And I think she's broken into someone's house in an attempt to steal their cats. So by cat burglar, I mean a burglar of cats, not the traditional type of cat burglar, and ended up in their house. She's decided to steal an Xbox for you just to try and distract you and stop you hissing at her. And they've come down scared and started offering her bribes to get out of their house. All I'm saying is don't trust every word your wife says.
you make some very valid points.
I think the story I'm getting from this is don't trust Xbox people.
Ooh.
I think PlayStation people are a much more above board type of owner of electronics.
Any reasoning behind it, or are you just gonna make a sweeping statement with zero evidence or opinion?
That's what I normally do. Yeah, I don't really have any reason. I was just going to try and put 2 and 2 together and make 9, and with my argument by saying that people that get off on Xboxes to leave other people's houses, so they steal their family pets, is a more worthwhile argument. But I don't think it's going to work this time.
I mean, you could have gone with the argument that Xbox in this case was literally trash.
Yes.
It may have been literally thrown out and left on the side, but the thing is it still had intrinsic value, and a very thoughtful wife walking along the road realised that this object had intrinsic value and thought, this looks brilliant.
A very thoughtful wife that went, his birthday's coming up. What can I get him that'll cost 0 money? And ended up going dumpster diving and brought you back someone else's. I mean, one man's trash is another man's treasure. That is true.
It's the easiest upcycling project I've ever heard of. Put power lead in. There you go. There's no reupholstering crap stools.
Quite right.
No putting new legs on tables.
So this is the first console that I've had in probably a decade and a half. My last console was a PlayStation 2 before that, so I've actually had the benefit of both. And as it happens, my Xbox has better graphics than my old PS2. So I'm going to have to come down on the side of the Xbox by the fact that it has better graphics than the PS2. Sorry, PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
You've lost out. Anyone?
Okay. I currently own a PS4. I know that the 360 is a lot bigger number than 4, but that's where your company's numbering system falls down on its face. Sequentially, the PlayStation went PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. So you can keep track of it. So in this busy era of electronics and strange things happening, you can know where you are. If someone says, I've got the new PlayStation 5, you go, oh, wow, that's one better than the one I've got, so you must have the new one. That's pretty good. Whereas
with the Xbox
360, then they've gone to the Xbox One. It's not even the Xbox One. It's like number 3. I don't understand.
Well, I'm
not a simpleton, but
I can't speak for the Xbox One. All I know is that I've got the Xbox 360, so by your logic, it must be the 360th. And it's much better.
But it was released, 10 years ago?
Well, they were just really ahead of their time.
Is that why they created a console that was inferior to the PlayStation offering at the time?
As I said, it's got better graphics than my old PS2. That's the only point of reference I've got here.
So your resolution is 1080 and 30 frames per second, whereas mine is 4K at 60 hertz.
I mean, my TV only goes up to 1080, so don't need it any bigger.
That is unfair, John, because as stated, he's comparing an Xbox 360 to a PS2, and now you're comparing a PS4 to an Xbox 360. So you're doing exactly the same to him as he's doing to his PS2. So
am I going to have to fight the PS3 corner?
You would have if I wasn't going to interject. And as we've discussed, it's very clear here that PlayStation comes out on top. This has nothing to do with the fact that I also am sitting in the PlayStation corner, and I'm sure we'll have many people telling us why we're wrong. We'll have many people telling us why Xbox better, and many people upset that we haven't considered that the PC is a console in itself, which, let's be frank, it's not. But I'm basing this purely on the fact.
Spreadsheets.
I'm basing this purely on the fact that we have one person here in Camp Xbox who is representing Xbox, and he can't even provide for his wife that she has to go dumpster diving to be able to provide for her family. And if that's the kind of man that likes Xbox, then I'm just not for Xbox personally. So yeah,
you're 2 for 2 on deciding the answer before you even ask. I like this. I've been on the winning end both times. This has been a good day. I've had a horribly long drive. I'm not with it, as you can tell, because I've said about 3 things. And I've won 2 out of 2. I'm down with this. I'm good with this.
I'm becoming meta. I'm coming up with the questions and deciding what I'm going to do in spite of anything that you say before it's happened.
It's very much like how Vladimir Putin runs his own country.
I just feel like we're cutting out the middleman. Soon we won't have to record anymore. I'll just tweet once a week. Dog or cat? Dog. Xbox or PlayStation? PlayStation. See you next week. And that'll be it. I'm all about efficiency.
Streamline the process.
I'm all about efficiency. Why do you think I started a podcast with 2 people with the same name? I ain't got time to waste. Busy
I ain't got time
man.
to be learning names. You've learnt one name and you're sticking with it.
Exactly. If you're not called John, do one. Right, would you like to pass on your question to me? Because there's no way I could already know the answer to this because I don't know what's coming.
I bet you do.
Okay. We've got a rather more, I guess, philosophical question for you than what we've been asked this week.
And I promise to put as little thought into my decision as I do every week.
Great. So the question this week is, would you rather be an aging monk on the verge of enlightenment with 5 years to live, or a young gang member on the verge of a 25-year prison sentence?
How young is this gang member?
19?
19?
19 to 25.
Okay.
Somewhere in that age range.
And does the gang member have hair?
Does he
No,
have
he's a
hair?
skinhead. He's a white supremacist.
Oh, he's a white supremacist.
So he's a skinhead. So
He might
it doesn't
have
matter if he
hair.
had hair or not.
He might have hair at the end of 25 years in prison.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the gang leader. I did hesitate when you said he was a white supremacist, but no, I'm going to go with the gang leader because if he's 19, 25 years in prison, he can still live some life afterwards, whatever quality of life that be. 25 years in prison is better than 25 years not in prison, which I'd be an enlightened monk with 5 years left to go. 5 years isn't very long, and as we've discussed previously, what's being enlightened going to do? It's not going to change anything. I just think it would add more problems than it would solve. So I would rather be young, dumb, and, well, I'm going to jail, so full of cum, than old and bald and living on a hill in the Himalayas.
Might not be bald.
You might get shanked in prison.
I might get shanked in prison, but I wouldn't. I'd be the new pretty thing in prison. I'd become someone's prison bitch. Just survive it out for 25 years.
25 years of turning your own back passage into a wizard's sleeve.
I could use my mouth.
I love the fact that you were straight on there with that. Yeah, I don't care.
No,
it
I'm
takes
not.
what it takes.
I mean, we're saying I'm 19, 25 years in prison. Let's say I get another 25 years out of prison. That's another 50 years of life compared to the 5 years of the monk, who's probably just going to spend 4.5 of those years, if you say I'm on the verge of enlightenment, just sitting around and wondering what he can do with his newfound knowledge. If it's of anything of any real value, then you're going to end up as one of those crazy people walking around New York saying that the rapture is coming and praise be whichever deity that turns out is correct. And no one's going to take me seriously. It's not like it was 2,000 years ago when someone popped up and said, yeah, God's me dad. And everyone went, okay. You say it these days and people think you're crazy, so you won't get taken seriously. So being enlightened isn't really going to change anything. I think we all know what's good and what's bad, and we have our own implications and our own reasonings behind it. But at the end of the day, it's all just subjective. So, yeah, I'll be a gang member.
That's some sound Matt logic there, I think. Congratulations.
It's better to live a long, miserable life than it is to spend 5 years knowing everything and going, this is all right.
Who says it'd be miserable? I might be really good in prison.
Matt, you already said you're going to sell your ass for cigarettes.
So, I've never tried it. I'm going to be honest. I've never tried it. Maybe I'd really like it. Maybe that's my idea of actual enlightenment.
Well, he's turned it around on us. I think he's firmly gone in the prison camp.
I don't want to live up a mountain where my only friend's an alpaca. I'd rather be in
like John's
prison.
version of, actually, if you're in the UK prison, you get it pretty easy. You get like cable TV and table football and stuff.
Cable TV?
Yeah, they've only got Xboxes in prison.
Oh God, I'd rather die.
Oh, yeah. I take back what I said before. As much as it feels like when I answer the questions aimed at me that there's no thought process, there is a thought process. I just answer with my gut and then I try and build my case around whatever I've decided. So it's reactive rather than proactive, I feel my answers are.
So when you say it's your gut answer, it's someone's head of their penis is going to be eating your gut That's your answer.
But one of, I apologise, it's taken us 4 episodes to get to the blue content, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry you had to wait so long. One of the worst phrases, and after I've told you this, we're going to have to end the episode, because one of the worst phrases I ever heard, a friend of mine at university, she was just under about 5 foot tall, tiny little thing, and they were talking about their experiences with a gentleman that they'd had while they were students and being promiscuous. And she said, and I quote, "You should have seen the size of the thing. He were touching breakfast."
Oh.
Never in my life has a phrase made me be sick in my mouth more than that did. I wasn't expecting it. These were all very pleasant young ladies as well, and I was like, no, don't like that.
Would it have been worse if she had street meat for breakfast? I think Matt's walked off.
Yeah, no, I needed a moment. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. So thanks as always for listening. We do appreciate it. Tweet at us with any questions you'd like us to ask at WoodJRather or #WoodJRather if you'd like to spread the word and get more people listening to the absolute bollocks that we make up as we go along and literally means nothing because it's already pre-decided. Like I might find out if I was to be enlightened. Maybe everything's pre-decided. Who knows? So, yes, thank you all for listening. I've been Not John.
I've been John, 2 for 2. Thank you very much.
And I've been the loser, John.
The loser, John, who hisses at his wife. If anyone's around the London area and they see a man hissing at his wife, please do help her. She's being held against her will. So please.
If you jingle a small ball towards him, he probably will chase it for distraction purposes.
Yeah, we're hoping to one day make some money from this so we can afford enough laser pens to arm London so they can distract him long enough that we can save our dear friend. But until then, there's not much we can do. So, smell you later.
Our t-shirts.
We haven't got any t-shirts.
Oh, should try harder at that then.
Somebody do it, where everything